Welcome back to Tansy Academy. In this video, we will be learning about SQL date functions as part of chapter 7, lesson 36 in Tansy Academy curriculum. So what are SQL date functions? SQL date functions are used to manipulate and format date and time values in SQL queries. These functions allow you to extract parts of date or perform date arithmetic operations and format date values to meet business requirements. Purpose: to handle date and time values in query. So you have the SQL date functions to handle date and time values in a given query, or to manipulate dates for comparisons, aggregations, and report. Example: finding the difference between dates, getting the current date, extracting specific date parts like the year or month from a given date. So here is the comprehensive list of date functions from each DB platform. Sometimes they are same, but in some cases it's totally different. Okay, so if you want, you can pause the video and look at these date functions. So if you want to get a year out of a date in Mysql, you say year. If you want to get a date, a year in Postgres, you use the extract keyword, extract functions, and you say I want to extract year from this a given date. So we are going to look at examples of important functions here. So let's begin with, if you want to get the date and time, okay, on a Mysql you say current timestamp, select current timestamp. It will print, or it will give the date, current date and time to this second or millisecond. You can also use now in Mysql and Postgres, but even if you use current timestamp, you will get the values. In Oracle you should say current timestamp from dual. In SQL Server again current timestamp. But if you want to say I want only the date, I'm not worried about what time it is, right? Current date, you can use select current date date function. It will give you the current date, system date, or DB server date. Okay. In Oracle, this is the syntax to get the date. Again, there might be different syntaxes, but this is one of the way how you can get date and how you can get date and time. Okay. And let's go through these some important 10 date functions. See, as we talked, current date, when you say select current date, this will be the output, returns the current date. Okay, when you say current time, it will return the time only. Or if you say current timestamp, select current timestamp, it will give the date as well as the time, hours, minutes, seconds. Okay, and now can also be used in Mysql and Postgres. It's the same thing again. It will give you this date and time. This is very interesting here. If you want to add, let's say 10 days to a date, or if you want to add 10 months, or if you want to add 3 years, you can do that using a date add function. So you have to pass the actual date value and then interval, how many times you want to increment this, whether you want to add by 10 or 5. Okay, 10. But what you want to add, 10 is like, is it you want to add 10 days or 10 months or 10 years? You have to mention that with this day keyword. So if you are trying to add 10 days and pass this value, then the output will be for 11th of that particular month. Okay. In the same way, you can subtract number of days or months or years from a given date. Here I am saying subtract 5 days from this date. So this is what I will get as an output. So this is very important, interval, and you should say, okay, what you are trying to subtract. This is the numeric value for subtraction. And again, extract. See, if you have the date like this, I want to see the year only, or I want to see the date only, or I want to see the month only, right? So these are the 3 commands. How would you do that? So if you use the month command on this date, it will return 1 because this is from the January month. Or if you want to do here, try to extract year, you will get the only year here. Okay, and then here you will get only the date part. So date diff, if you want to see the difference between these 2 dates, you will use a function called date diff, and it will return the difference in number of days between these 2 dates. So here is an sample. Calculate the age for a given date of birth. Let's assume the date of birth is year 2000, June 12. I want to calculate this age as of current system, as of current calendar date. So this is how you use in calculate that in Postgres or Mysql. I think in Mysql Postgres there is an age command here. Yeah, Postgres age command. So if you say age, if you give the date of birth, and it will return you the number of years from the given from the date of birth to the current date. Yeah, so this is how you calculate the date of birth in MySQL, because it will give the difference in number of days and then you divide it by 365 to get age in years. So this is how you do it in Oracle. So I think here you get in terms of months, that's why you divide by 12. In SQL Server you have day, diff, year, and then you say this. So that means I want to, here you know, they are in MySQL, they just give number of days, and then you later on you can use it however you want. You can convert that into years or months, but in SQL Server you need to say I want the difference in terms of years between these 2 days, so it will give the date. Or you can say month, it will give the difference in terms of months between these 2 dates when you say month or a day or a year. So depending upon what you are trying to extract, you need to mention that in a SQL Server date function. And here another live example, let's say I have order ID, order table. This order was placed on so and so date and it was shipped on so and so date. If I want to see the difference in terms of hours, how long it took for the order to be shipped, right? So this is how I do it. In MySQL I say select order ID, select order date, ship date, and hours to ship. So for that hours to ship I say I had to deduct, do subtraction on this order date and ship date in terms of hours, so I get this output. In SQL Server you say date diff between these 2 dates, order date, ship date, but I want to calculate the difference in terms of hours only, so I specify this hour keyword here, so I get this answer. Yeah, thanks a lot.